Good afternoon, and welcome to Inspired to Change talk show with Shirley and Aloma. The purpose of our show is to inspire and motivate, encourage, and promote excellence for change in our friends, family, community, and our children.
That's right.
And our co-host is
Aloma Ingram.
welcome, Aloma.
Thank you, honey.
All right, good. Today we're going to bring back the subject of self-awareness. We spoke about that in our last broadcast, and but this time our focus or our subject is called our storyline is deep and wide. So we're going deeper into self-awareness and wider into the subject of about how self-awareness will help you with understanding others. When Aloma and I talked the other day about self-awareness and self-knowledge, I thought there was a little bit of difference between the two of them, but pretty much they're the same thing. Is that right?
Yeah, they kind of tie in.
They tie in together.
Tie together, yes.
Right. Self-knowledge is understanding of one's own motives and character, and pretty much self-awareness it's just making sure you tuned into your motives.
Yes.
Yes, and who you are, character-wise.
That is correct.
Yeah. So the first thing we want to talk about is managing our emotions. We keep going back to that. Why? Why, Ms. Aloma? We go back to that because we're
all guilty of not managing our emotions.
We're guilty. Everyone is guilty of that at some time or another. And so we want to make ourselves more aware of it, and you more aware of the fact that you got to stay in tune with yourself.
and since I've been doing the show with you, I'm even more aware that I'm even handling things differently because I'm doing the show, I'm talking about the things, and when I catch myself because I know the information. So,
right.
Yes.
This is helping us as well.
Yes.
Before we go into the managing the emotion, I want to address or just give you a little information about the different types of intelligences because most of the time people think about IQ, which is the intelligent quotient, and which is a scale to figure out how smart you really are, I guess. And but few people think about the term emotional quotient, and which is talking about emotional intelligence, and that's what self-awareness falls under, emotional intelligence. Again, Aloma and I are early childhood educators, been in the field 30, 40 years. It's been a while. And but in early childhood, we talk about chronological age and developmental age. That's what we address all the time. And of course, we know
child psychology into adulthood.
Yes. Now we know children are going to be challenged in the area of emotions.
Oh yes.
Definitely. But what I think, and what she has had a chance to, Aloma, right, to have had a chance to assess, is that oftentimes people get stuck in a developmental age, especially when they have a trauma or an experience that may have devastated them in some sort of way. I believe that
even though they have grown up, they're still stuck in that age.
Where that trauma.
How they deal with certain things that are traumatic.
Right.
They're there in that age.
Exactly.
Where they first experienced trauma.
Right. Exactly. And so
many people are able to get out of it.
They're not getting, and this is why we're having these discussions today, and the previous ones as well, because we want people to recognize where you are developmentally. The common vernacular would be just maturity. Someone may say this person is more mature than the other person, but we're talking about the emotional intelligence of a person, and we're saying that can be affected by something that we may have gone through in our earlier years, and we kind of stay right there, and then we move forward, but not change anything. So now we're going to talk specifically about managing emotions now, and one of the most common ones that
you have the positive, happy, sad, anger, emotion. So,
Yeah.
we have to differentiate where we're going with this one.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yes. We don't have to, I don't think we have to do much modification on the positive,
No,
happy side.
Because when you're happy, well, that's good.
Everybody's happy
Everybody's
when you're
happy.
happy. But when
God help us if you're not happy.
but if you're not happy, then
Oh,
there's
boy.
a problem for not only yourself and many people around you. And Loma, you were sharing a story with me that you experienced just the other day, and I'm gonna let you tell that story.
We'll tell the story.
Right.
Well, obviously, people handle anger different ways. Some people get quiet, and some come up with an outburst. Well, I was in a Walmart parking lot, and there were two people fighting over the Walmart handicap parking.
Mm.
One woman was 90% in, and the other one was on a 45 angle. Now, the one who's on is 90% in. If she tried to go in anymore, she's going to scratch the woman on a 45 angle. There was the handicap parking, another car park, and an empty spot. So it's not too far. But both of them wanted the handicap parking. So the one who was 90% in was very angry with the other woman who was 40 at a 45 angle. And she came out of her car. They were like there for 10 minutes parked. Nobody wants to move. They're blocking traffic. And the other woman who was on 90% in the parking spot, she came out very angry.
Mm.
And while she was there blowing and getting upset, I was just watching them. And a fellow customer said to me, I don't know what's wrong with them. I said, but another parking spot is right there. It's not too far away. So when the other one got out to argue, the other woman, with her angry, silent self, just take that car and push it right into the spot.
Right in.
Right in there.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, 90% in got very angry.
Mm-hmm.
And she saw that I was watching in awe. And she drove up to me and she said, there's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with me. I said, no, honey, there's nothing wrong with you.
Okay.
Nothing at all is wrong with you. Don't mind them. Don't worry about them. There are other parking spots down there. And God is in control, eh? Nothing is wrong with you. I had to do that because that little spirit of anger, I wasn't about to let it jump into me.
Uh-huh.
And that's what anger does.
Mm-hmm.
When someone is angry, it's a spirit. It's serious as spirit. And they can only get out of it if they don't know how to control. They can only get out of it by being angry with somebody else.
By passing it on.
Passing it on. So if you get angry, you've opened yourself for that spirit to jump right into you.
Right.
And now you're carrying this anger spirit. This woman made me angry. And then you have to find someone. You go home, it's the children, the husband, or the dog will get it. So you have to be very careful. And Shirley will explain to you not to allow that anger to come into you.
Right.
Somebody's so angry. You now want to learn to control you. You know what's going on. You know if you get angry back at that person, that spirit of anger is going to come upon you.
Right.
So you just like, oh.
Right. And we talked last time about when you're starting to feel stress or you feeling some type of way or some kind of emotion,
Yes.
you feel it in your body.
You can
It starts
feel it.
almost
Yes.
like water
That is
boiling.
why I said it's a spirit.
Yeah, it's almost
You know,
like
you
water
can
boiling.
feel that, there's something going on other than just the flesh and you.
Yes.
There's something there and you need to get it out.
Right.
And sometimes you just have to blow somebody and
Then you feel better.
and that person who got angry with you has just taken on that spirit.
Yeah.
And now that person's walking around with that little demon trying to get rid of it on somebody.
Someone else.
You need to be aware that that little demon there need to stay with that person. They need to go to the gym and punch on the punching bag and get it out there.
But how
not on somebody else.
How do we avoid allowing someone to pull us into their situation or their problem or their psychosis or whatever they're
That's
going
why
through?
we're sitting here.
How do
We're telling you to recognize
Yeah.
that when somebody's angry, the moment you become angry, you have opened your spirit to accept that little spirit of anger.
And so we want to.
So you need to know, recognize it, and tell yourself,
Yes, self-awareness.
Self-awareness.
Yeah, self-aware. Be
Oh,
aware.
you're not coming to me today.
Yeah, be aware. Be on guard. Be
Be on
aware
guard.
of
Be on guard.
how this is making you feel at the moment. If you allow it, it can pull you totally out of character, or I say for some
Totally
people,
out of character, yes.
but for some people, I think it's actually in character because they like to
They like to
use
blow.
some expressive language
And
is
stay
what
there
I'm
too.
talking
And
about.
stay there too.
Okay.
If you like to defend yourself with such spirit of anger, then you're going to damage yourself eventually. You're going to damage those around you who you love.
Right.
Because you're going to take it out on somebody. And sometimes that somebody's the people in your household.
Yeah, usually
Especially
someone
little children.
close to you.
Someone
Usually
close to you, yes.
So self-awareness help us to understand the behaviors and feelings of others. It will allow us to be able to empathize in some cases with the person who's experiencing that, instead of allowing that person to pull us into their drama. As I heard my husband used to say, don't let that person's problem be your problem.
Well, there it is.
Yeah.
You know what gave me joy? When I said, and give her a kiss and said, you can find out a parking spot down there, honey. Don't mind. You don't mind them.
Right.
I actually saw her when.
Right.
So she left with that spirit. Because it was about to come on. She
on
thought
you.
she found someone to let it out on.
No.
And I'm like,
because you're very self-aware. You have a high emotional IQ, and so, oh no, I see this one coming.
Yes.
And so you have to be on guard and know yourself well enough to know, okay, no, I see what's happening ahead of time. You discern ahead of time and say, okay, here we go. So self-awareness can help you in that way to help you deal with other people. And self-knowledge, you want to talk about that just a moment. When we're talking about self-knowledge, to me, I think about a lot of things. I not only think about me being aware of my emotions, I think you have to look at your frame of reference, where you came from when you're talking about self-knowledge. You're looking at yourself as an individual, where you were born, where you were raised, who you were raised by, your genetic pool, the choices that you have made in life, your temperament, traits. We could talk about so many things. So that's your frame of reference right there. Right. That's your frame of reference. And on the side of genetics, pretty much, if mom is slow and cool and dad is hot and spicy, pretty much one of those temperaments are going to fall on you. That's at birth.
Or you could fall in the middle.
Yeah, or you can fall in the middle, but most of the times, if the genetics is usually falls what temperament does. Now, personality can, of course, be modified as they experience life. But we have to consider that when we look at a person and ourselves, when we are aware of ourselves, we have to look up what kind of temperament we have and just acknowledge and accept that. Hopefully, if it's something negative, we're willing to change modify that temperament.
I want to bring up this power we spoke about.
Okay.
The power we spoke about in a few shows back, where self-power.
Okay.
I had power that day when I didn't allow that woman to let that demon out on me.
Yeah.
And it felt good.
Yeah, exactly.
It felt good because I didn't allow her to make me angry.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you're able to stand still and just say, you know what? This isn't my problem. Shirley, this isn't your problem today. Only if you allow it to be your problem will this be your problem. So you recognize your own temperament.
I like that. This isn't going to be my problem today. No. Okay. Don't let it be your problem
Don't let
today.
it be your problem today. And mess up your whole day.
Yes.
Why? So you have temperaments, your temperament, which comes from birth. At the time that you're born, you have your genetic makeup and your personality, but you
environmental.
Yes, which is personality deals with the environment, how other people look at you as well. And we're related to children. We always go back to children. It's important that if you have children, or if you have children around you, that we do make sure that we keep those children as individuals. We don't say, make sure we.
You're not like your brother.
You're not like your brother, and he's taller than you, and he's smarter than you, and he read when he was 5 years old. I don't know what's wrong with him. He's 3 and he's still not talking, or whatever it might be.
Respect the differences in the individual.
In the individual
Yes.
as well, absolutely. So we wanted to bring these things to your attention. And when we talk about frame of reference, let me give you a actual form of somewhat of a definition of frame of reference, because some people may not have heard that term before.
Right.
One author says, our reactions are often based on significant events and interactions in the past. They are models of behaviors, feelings, and options constructed for us to draw on the deal and to deal with new situations. So when they say think about frame of reference, think about mindsets, experiences, and thought patterns that you have gathered up over time. And then we began to deal in life with those frames.
And especially too, let's go a little deep and wide. The different countries and cultures have a lot to do with how some people.
Culture is one of the biggest environmental influences that there may be. So what we're saying to you today, our guest, what we're saying to you, we want you to be mindful. I mentioned that term before. Mindfulness is being aware of what's going on around you, and this helps you to stop you from going on like autopilot. Autopilot would be like you usually do. Yeah. You know what I mean, honey?
No thought.
Right, no
Just
thought.
Keep going.
She don't want me to read her today. You've heard that. You don't want to go there with me today. You know, that's autopilot. That's how you normally respond to something. And we don't want you. And mindfulness will allow you to recognize where you are. And it opens up the way for new possibilities.
And to that, this is going to be great information for people who are married into different cultures. Yeah, like the husband could be from China and the wife is from Jamaica, and it's a total different cultural clash right there.
Right.
So if you understand the person's background and your background, you're putting two different modules of culture together.
Yes.
And that takes a lot of work.
But even when it's not so much culture as far as countries, how you were raised and how I was raised
in the same
is totally different.
Right.
I mean, can be totally different. And you're in the family structure that you had and the family structure and I had. So we have to be careful, viewers. Not to self-awareness helps you to avoid being judgmental. Okay, it helps you to avoid be able to open your mind up and look at other people
and be sensitive to the differences in
other people. Okay,
very sensitive
very
to
good.
The differences. Yes,
very good.
Because we're all different individuals.
Exactly. So we want to remain with that. We want to leave you with that point. Is being self-aware makes you knowledgeable about who you are, alert to who you are. It helps you understand the feelings of others, and it helps you to manage your emotions, and it helps you to avoid judging others as well.
Yes.
Well, today's program again was sponsored by Florida Educators Resource. The website is www.floridaeducatorsresource.com for your character education material for your school-age children. This is what this material is for. And again, we want to remind you that we always say self-control
is the best control.
Is the best control. So we want you to share this. If this information has been helpful to you, share it with others, please. And subscribe, and don't forget to like it as well. We're here to help you and answer questions for you as well. So we look forward to seeing you the next time. And God bless and have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.